Some of the biggest names in the 2025 NFL Draft came from Colorado. Guys like Travis Hunter, Sheduer Sanders, and Jimmy Horn Jr. were just some of the names, but one guy who notably went undrafted was Shilo Sanders. He's obviously the other son in the equation here, and after a crazy and kind of bizarre college career, his name was not called. But why did this happen? Well, in today's video, we're going to do a What Happened To video on Shilo Sanders, as we're going to give the spotlight to the brother who never gets talked about, go through his football journey, talk about his college career, and what is happening to him now that he's in the professional ranks. But before we get started, if you're a big fan of college football, be sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a like if you support today's video, and let me know what player, team, topic, or situation I can cover next. Now let's get started and talk about what happened to Shilo Sanders. Honestly, there are a lot of reasons why Deion Sanders and his sons have been in the news, but let's go back in time and talk about this guy. Shiloh was born in the year 2000 as the second son of Deion Sanders and the oldest son of his mother. His older brother Deion Sanders Jr. was a wide receiver at SMU before becoming a model and a rapper. But Shiloh started playing football from a young age because he had always wanted to be like his dad, and it helped that his dad was the offensive coordinator at Trinity Christian School in Cedar Hill, Texas. While he was there, Shiloh would play wide receiver, defensive back, and kick returner for the team, just like his father did. His high school career was up and down though, as he was considered a pretty solid corner for Trinity and had 19 tackles and 5 picks his senior year, which was all the way back in 2018. This was enough for him to be named an Under Armour All-American, and he ran 2 kick returns back for touchdowns. But on offense, he only had 13 catches for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. He was able to lead Trinity Christian to a 14-0 record in 2018 and a state championship win in Division II. He finished his high school career ranked as a low 3-star recruit in the class of 2019, and he was considered the 153rd best corner recruit in the country and the 200th best recruit from the state of Texas. His recruitment was all over the place, as his first big scholarship offer was from UCF the summer before his junior season. He also got offers from Oregon State, Syracuse, Texas A&M, Oregon, and his brother's school, SMU. But his offer list started to grow over time, and he added Nebraska and Georgia before his senior year, and then South Carolina, Florida State, and Tennessee during his senior year. He would eventually circle back to South Carolina and would commit to the Gamecocks in early 2019. According to 24/7 Sports, he was a 3-star recruit, the number 69 corner, and the 753rd best player in the class of 2019. So how would he end up doing at South Carolina? Well, he would get playing time as a true freshman, but it wasn't all that in depth. He had made a total of 1 tackle in 2019, and it was in a 70-12 blowout over Charleston Southern. He did have time in 3 other games, but would fail to record a single stat. He wouldn't play again until 2020, when he actually found some normal playing time for a redshirt freshman corner. In 9 games, he had 32 total tackles and 1 pass deflection. While he did play pretty well in a 30-22 win against number 15 Auburn, he was pretty much invisible or average for the rest of his games. But it was still good enough for him to finish 8th on the team in total tackles. Following his redshirt freshman season at South Carolina, his college football career would change considerably. He would enter the transfer portal in December in hopes of finding a new home, right before South Carolina fired Will Muschamp and hired Shane Beamer. At the same time, his father Deion Sanders would take the head coaching job at Jackson State in Mississippi, which was an FCS HBCU. His younger brother, quarterback Sheduer, had decommitted from Florida Atlantic and was also going to go to Jackson State. So he entered the transfer portal and went to play with his brother and his dad for the 2021 spring season. He said, quote, "Pop said he needed some dogs, so I'm joining my brother to help change the game at JSU and level the HBCU playing field." At the time, he was considered a 3-star transfer recruit and officially changed his position from corner to safety. In 2021, he would appear in 13 games at Jackson State, starting 8, finishing with 39 tackles, 4 picks, and 2 forced fumbles. He made second team All-SWAC that year, and his 4 interceptions had him tied for second in the conference. There was a lot of hype for what he could do next at Jackson State, but his 2022 season was hindered by an ACL tear, and he's only able to play in 7 games. There are also some concerns that he'd be able to come back the following season. He then finished with 2 starts in 7 games and had 20 total tackles, 1 pick, and 5 breakups. Those 2 seasons were part of a huge rebuild for Jackson State, and the Sanders brought a new intrigue to the university. They improved from 4-8 in 2019 to 4-3 in that shortened 2020 season, which was their first under Deion, and then they improved to 11-2 with a SWAC championship in 2021 and a 12-1 with a SWAC championship in 2022. He would then enter the transfer portal again following the 2022 season, and I bet you guys wonder where he ended up. It was for the same exact reason he entered the portal in 2020, as he was following both his dad and his brother to the new school, in which this time was Colorado, a Power 5 school in the FBS. The Buffs had gone 1-11 the year before, and they were hoping Deion would be able to bring success from Jackson State to Boulder. He brought in a handful of players, including former number 1 overall player Travis Hunter, Sheduer Sanders, and obviously Shiloh. But there were definitely some growing pains in Shiloh's first year at Colorado, as the team would improve from 1-11 to 4-8, but lost a lot of steam after starting the season 3-0. Their only win was by 3 against Arizona State, and Shiloh started 11 games for the Buffs in 2023 and had some big plays, like a pick 6 against Colorado State, but some injury issues kept him from playing the full 12-game slate. In total, Shiloh finished with 70 tackles, 1 interception, and 3 pass deflections as a safety. The following season, which was Colorado's first year back in the Big 12, the injury issues would only continue. He played in just 10 games at Colorado in 2024, starting every single one of them and recording 67 total tackles, 2 TFLs, 2 pass breakups, 2 fumble recoveries, 1 sack, 1 forced fumble, and 1 defensive touchdown. He played the first 2 games before he left early in the game against Nebraska, as he had an arm injury. On first glance, you'd expect that to mean that teams were throwing the ball away from him, but according to Pro Football Focus, they weren't just throwing at him a bunch, they were also running at him a bunch, and he wasn't as effective his senior year as he was in the past. He finished as a third-team All-Big 12 player at the safety spot. Colorado improved from 4-8 to 9-3 in the regular season, and when Shiloh was on the field, they went 6-4, and they went 3-0 without him. Off the field, there were a ton of reports about his injury history, including one for a finger injury, where an athletic trainer at Colorado asked the doctor present, quote, "Is he the most dramatic patient you've ever seen? You can be honest." Shiloh apparently had a big fear of needles and was making it difficult for doctors to treat him. There's a chance he was hammering it up for the camera because of course there was a camera on them, but given the concerns about maturity of his brother Sheduer, it's entirely possible it was all serious. After the conclusion of the season, he was not invited to the Senior Bowl or the NFL Combine, so he'd have to do a lot of work at his pro day. He ran a 4.52 at the 40-yard dash, which was better than some people had expected, and some even thought he could maybe get drafted because of this. After his pro day, Deion said, quote, "He ran surprisingly. I'm pretty sure he surprised a lot of you guys. His 40 time today, and I'm so darn proud of him, and he does not take a backseat to his brother." After his pro day, Shiloh then told reporters, "My selling point to teams and why they should draft me, well, it's if you want a safety that's going to play like a safety and that's going to be physical and be a leader, I'm going to do my job and I'm the guy." Yeah, Before the draft this year, his dad then went on to say, Shiloh had one negative game that we could denote, and he's been a pillar of consistency. He's an old school player playing under these new school guidelines, and he's a dog. But apparently the numbers don't really back that up. His senior year, there were many Colorado fans who felt like his tackling was subpar, and that the defense actually played better when he wasn't on the field. Some Buffalo fans even blame him for that loss to K-State because of a few bad plays he made in that game, but the most obvious one was where he took a terrible angle and got juked out by K-State running back DJ Giddens so badly he essentially fell to the ground. This is interesting because the main factor that scouts liked him in the first place was his ability to wrap up tackle. It's his pass coverage where he had the most significant issues, as opposing quarterbacks have a QB rating of 108.7 when targeting him through the air. The best quarterback in terms of QBR last season was Cam Ward, and he finished with a QBR of 88. That means that quarterbacks actually fared way better than average when targeting him through the air. Typically, safeties with good tackling but poor coverage will get moved to the box linebacker role in the NFL, but Shiloh currently stands at 6 foot and 195 pounds, which would be very light for an NFL linebacker, meaning he could really only be used situationally, or he'd have to get picked on as a safety. There's also the fact he was already 25, making him pretty old for an NFL rookie, and especially old for a rookie DB at the next level. He'd be close to 30 by the end of his rookie contract, but as we all know, he was going to get some sort of chance in the NFL because of his name, and he honestly wasn't a horrible player either. I mean, many worse players have gotten undrafted deals. In terms of after the draft, after he watched his brother fall all the way to the 5th round, Shiloh was picked up by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as an undrafted free agent. He signed a 1-year deal with the Bucs that ended up being worth about $840,000. Obviously, he's going to compete for a spot on the 53-man roster, and he said he's eager to prove himself and make the most of his opportunity with the Bucs. He'll also have his dad who's going to try to help guide him and push him in the right direction, but for now, I'd say there's probably a good chance he will not make the roster and that he may end up as a practice squad player, or I don't even know. He might even be on the coaching staff for Colorado when things are all said and done this fall. That's just my personal opinion that could end up happening. I just don't necessarily know if Shiloh has what it takes to make it in the league. And again, people have their opinions on Coach Prime. I like the guy, I think he's fine. but there is a certain pressure and expectation for the Sanders boys that some NFL teams and executives probably just don't really want to deal with. Combining that with some of the inconsistencies in his play, the injury issues, the doubts on what position he'd play in the league, and just some of the mechanical issues, there really is not a good reason to expect Shiloh to make the 53-man roster, but again, maybe he makes the practice squad or gets bounced around somewhere else. In reality, what I think will end up happening is he'll try his best, it won't end up working out, and my bet is that he's going to be on the Colorado coaching staff sometime here soon. But who knows? We'll just have to wait and see what happens. But if you're a Colorado fan, what do you think of Shilo Sanders? What were his issues? Why did he go undrafted? And where do you think his future will be? Be sure to let me know down below. Leave a like if you support today's video, subscribe if you're new, and check out some of the videos on the end screen, including my video about Will Rogers. I hope to see you guys again soon, but until next time, peace.